Hey everybody, the 4Gun guy here, and I'm really excited to do a review of the new Holosun HS510C red dot that I've purchased for my new PCC build. So I'm going to do an 80% build on a 9mm PCC, and I'm going to put this on top of it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do red dot requirements, so my budget and my requirements. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know all of this. My budget and requirements, we're going to do a comparison matrix, then we'll do an unboxing. We'll look at this in a little more detail. We'll get some sights through it, see what that reticle looks like and the reticle options, and then we'll have some final thoughts. So if you're all ready to go, let's get started. Well, let's go through the requirements that led me to this. So the first one was under $500. This is under that. Second one was open reflex sight, not a tube sight. So not something like, I don't know, that Burris TRS 25 that I bought a long time ago. I don't want a tube. I want more of an open reflex sight. Long battery life, so I didn't want to have to worry about changing a battery every 3 matches or something like that. I want the battery to be able to last in this thing. Multiple reticles. Now that wasn't something I initially looked at, but as I started to do my research and I found that this had multiple reticles, that kind of started to move it to the top of the list. Good brightness. In other reviews that I've seen on this red dot and you know, just things that I've read, the brightness is good. We're going to find out about that here in a few minutes. Sturdy construction, aluminum housing with a titanium shroud around the lens there. So, you know, that helps. But the others have some good construction too. The auto on-off feature, again, I just mentioned that. My Leupold VX6 for my AR has it, and I really like that feature, so I was kind of looking at that same feature for a red dot, and then a good warranty. Now I know my Vortex has really good warranties. I've actually used it once, and some people say, well, that's because you need a warranty for those. No, not necessarily. I just like to have a good warranty though, so we'll see how this stacks up with some of the others as well. So those are the requirements that I had. Let's move on to my comparison matrix where I compare the Holosun with a few other good options that are out there. Well, here we are with our comparison matrix, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know what I try to like to do is to get some of the relevant information that you might be considering when you're looking at a piece of equipment, and then give some options. So here we've got the Holosun, the HS510C first. Then I looked at the Burris Fastfire 3, the Trijicon RMR2, the Seymour slide rail. This is the aluminum version. The Sig Sauer Romeo 1, the Leupold Delta EOTech 510, and the Vortex Venom, which I already have on another on my pistol. So look, what I wanted to do is go through some things here, right? Some things to consider, like battery hours, on-off, battery type, reticle styles, brightness adjustment. And then I got down into things like the, you know, the overall length, width, and height, the weight, adjustment, click value. I think that's kind of a big one to me. I know I didn't have it in my requirements, but the more I looked at it, it really was. And then things like, does it come with a mount? You know, I really didn't mind if they did or not. And then what I did is color coded. You know, I love my color coding. So I put green to those things that really stood out as positives, orange, just yellows to those things that were okay. You know, this isn't bad. And then red to those things that just, you know, weren't going to cut it for me. So if we start with the Holosun, you know, look, the battery life, 50,000 hours. I like the shake awake option, which, like I told you before, I have that on my Leupold. I like the fact that it's a CR2032 battery. The solar option is the only one in this whole group that has that. And I do like that, even though it wasn't something I was looking for. So I like the idea that, yes, solar is helping me when I'm out there in a match or whatever, it's really operating off the solar. But if I need the battery, it'll switch to the battery, and that's why you get 50,000 hours out of the battery. The reticle really became one of the biggest things for me because I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have just a red dot like all my other red dots, and which red dot do I have to choose? And then I looked through a buddy's, I think it was an EOTech, and I loved the reticle on that thing. And so when I saw that this Holosun had the 2 MOA dot with the 65 MOA ring, I thought, hey, that sounds really good. Then when I realized that you could, go through and use one of those three options, which is the red dot, the 65 MOA ring, or both together, I really started to get sold on this red dot. The brightness adjustment. This does have an automatic option. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure I'm going to use that, even though it is a positive here. I kind of like setting the brightness myself, so we'll see how that works out. This did come with that QD mount, which was really good in my opinion, and as we'll see, I really like the way they set that up. The material, again, when you get into this price, they're all pretty much aluminum. Now, one thing I want to point out, when you see a blank cell in this matrix, that means I couldn't find anything on that particular metric. The parallax, again, as we'll find, all of these are, quote, parallax free, and on the blanks, I didn't find anything on that. But to me, that really doesn't mean that much. Nowadays, they're all, quote, parallax free. The window size was a big one for me. So if you look at this Holosun has a bigger window than I think all of these. And so that to me made a big difference because as I told you earlier, I didn't want to barrel a tube red dot. I really wanted more of an open reflex sight like these are. And this one has a really good window. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Length, width, height, a lot of these are fairly close, but that's because you're looking at these smaller versions of these red dots. Like take my Vortex Venom at the very end there. That thing's 2 inches long, half an inch wide, 1 inch tall. I think it's actually wider than that 0.41. And I got this off of all the manufacturer's sites. So these are numbers they're providing. But I really like the size, I think, of this Holosun. It's exactly what I was looking for to mount on a rifle, right? That's what this is going on, a PCC, which is a pistol caliber carbine. So the weight, again, if you're looking at those smaller versions of these, they are going to be very light, but they're also going to be very small. And if you look over there at the EOTech, that thing was a beast at 11.5 ounces. The Holosun is 4.9 ounces, which isn't as light as the others, but at least it's half the weight of that EOTech. And then this other thing here, the adjustment click value. Now, as I started to look at these, I noticed that a lot of those were 1 MOA. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But then I got to this Holosun and I saw half MOA adjustments, and I really like that. I like the fact that you can get a little more granular there with your adjustment. Reticle color, all of these are red. Are they multi-coated? Yes, they're all 1 magnification. Do they come with a mount? Again, this wasn't a big deal to me, but the more I saw for the value piece, that yes, coming with a mount is a good value, right? It's a good positive. The number of brightness settings, the Holosun has 10, some of them have 4, some have 12. The EOTech has 20. I don't know why you need 20 brightness settings, but okay. And I know EOTechs are fantastic, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking EOTech, right? I'm just saying I don't understand why you need 20 brightness settings. Waterproof, they're all pretty much waterproof. Some better than others. So like this Holosun, it's waterproof to like 3 feet or 1.5 meters or 3.5 feet or 4 feet or whatever it was. And then some of these are waterproof, like the Trigicon, I think, and I don't know about the EOTech, but I know the Trigicon, I believe, was waterproof to 30 feet, right? Or even 30 meters. It might have been one of those. But Again, if I'm dropping my optic in 30 meters of water, that means it's attached to my rifle, and I ain't gonna find that anywhere or go get it. So I really don't care if it's waterproof to 30 meters or not. And then the last thing here was that warranty. Now with the Holosun, it's a lifetime for the metal structure of the product housing. Then the optical glass is covered for 5 years, and what you don't see down there is that the illumination system is covered for 3 years. So that's the warranty on that. You know, you go to the Burris, the SIG, the Leupold, the Vortex, they all have those lifetime warranties, which is fantastic. So if that's the thing you're interested in, you might want to consider one of those. The one that really surprised me was the Seymour. I know guys who shoot with the Seymours and they really love them. And I've really tried to look at these, but I'm sorry, they're too big, they're too bulky. And then I look at this 1-year warranty and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to take that chance on you. So these were the metrics that I looked against. And from the pricing perspective, if you look at the top there, the Trijicon was at the very top. That was the $500 one. The Burris Fast Fire, the Vortex Venom, they were both in the mid 200s. And then you got to the Holosun at $310, the Seymour at $360, and the EOTech at $379, which really kind of surprised me. EOTech was $379. But from a price perspective and the value perspective, I just felt, for me, the Holosun might be the better deal. And that's why I went with the Holosun. So let's go ahead and move on to unboxing, and we'll get some first looks at this. Well, let's get to the unboxing here. So again, typical box. I'm going to just open that up. It's a plastic box. It's nice. Have the instructions inside, the gel, cleaning cloth, and then what we have in here is we've got the little tool that you're going to use to adjust the optic elevation and whatnot, and to take out the battery. We have an extra battery tray, which is nice. We have the tool, the Torx tool that's going to work with it. And then we have, of course, the optic itself. So let me pull this thing out, and I'm going to try to get this camera to focus. I've got a new camera, so I'm trying to learn it. And really, folks, this is really a nice optic. I love the way this thing's put together. It's a little heavy, you know. It's not those small little red dots that you're like the Vortex Venom or anything like that. It's really put together well. You have the plus, the minus sign for the brightness, and these are the really only two controls on this whole thing, which I really like. Looking at it from the back, we have a really nice sight picture here. Let me move all this out of the way so we can really start to see through this thing. I don't have it on, but that's a nice sight window. We have the elevation control. We have the windage, or the windage control here. This is the battery compartment. I'm not going to take this off and all that stuff if you don't mind. The Torx tool goes in, you unscrew these things, you use this thing, and you pry this open, and then there's the battery. I already put the battery in, actually. And then we have the quick detach. So let me make sure I'm still in focus here, because this thing tends to want to go out of focus. Hopefully I am. And here's the quick detach. Now the nice thing about this is I can't just open this up like this. I have to actually, let me see if I can do it, flip it. There's a little switch here that you can see that moving there, and that has to come forward. Then you can open this up and attach it. Okay, so that's how that works. And as a matter of fact, hold on one second. I'm going to grab and this is going to be the rail for my PCC build. So let's see how this thing's going to go on there. So if I just there we go. And then what you want to make sure on these is that whenever you mount this red dot, you're always going to want it to go forward on the rail, right? Because there's play in these things. You want it to go forward, then you want to lock it back. And that way, when the rifle recoils, this optic is already up against one of these tracks here on the rail. Okay, So that's that. That looks good on there, I think. I hope we're still in focus. I think we are. Let's go ahead and fire this thing up. And let's see if we can see the reticle through this. So I'm going to press the plus button here. I'm going to look through it first here to make sure it comes on. I'm going to hold the plus button down. And there it is on. And let me see here if, this is going to be really tricky, but let's see what we can do. And there you go, awesome. Okay, we got it. Then I can adjust the brightness on it. And then if I want to change the reticle, if I can press the button here. Let's see here, I hold the minus button down for about 3 seconds. There's the dot. If I hold the minus sign down again, I should get the circle. There's the circle. And then if I hold it down one more time, I should get the circle and the dot. I'd love to take it outside and show you if it washes out or not, but I don't know if this camera is going to focus in on it, and I think that's going to be a little much to ask. I can tell you that yes, I already have taken it out of the box. I did take it outside. I put it up on its brightness, maximum brightness, and it did not wash out in direct sunlight. So really it looks really good to me. Now let's do something else here. I've got this, so this is the Holosun, right? I also have a Bushnell. This is the Bushnell TRS 25. This is their trophy. I got this as the very first red dot for my, actually it was on my AR. And this little red dot, folks, if you are on a budget, this is a great little red dot. You could start with this, but remember, I did not want the barrel type of red dot, okay? I wanted the more of the open reflex type. Let's go ahead and look at these in a comparison here, kind of put them up against each other, and I think I was zoomed in, so let's zoom out. Fantastic. There we go. So you can see the size difference here, and I hope that is zoomed in. It should be. Let me make sure it is though. Set that down. Make sure we're zoomed in right there. Perfect. So it'll follow that. So there's the size difference there. Let's look at the window difference. Look at the difference between these two windows here. Okay. Pull this like this. I'm going to come up here. Hopefully that's focusing there. I never know until I'm in post-production. Look at this difference of these window sizes. Now I'm going to bring another one into view, and this is an optic, or this is a red dot that I actually had in my comparison matrix. This is, and please realize the pistol is unloaded. I have a chamber flag. There is no magazine. There's nothing in this pistol. This is my Competition 10 Folio, 9mm. And what I want you to see here is the difference between the Vortex Venom and this Holosun. Wow. I mean, the window in the Holosun is probably area-wise 3 times the size. Area-wise, not dimensionally, but overall area, I'll bet. So look, even though the Vortex Venom was in our comparison, you can see why I wanted to go with the Holosun. Bigger window, bigger sight picture, really, when you look at it. And so I'm really happy with the way this thing looks and functions. Well, let's recap what we went over. So we did we looked at my budget and my requirements for a red dot to mount on my PCC. We looked at the comparison matrix where we compared the Holosun HS510C to a number of other options that are all very good in the category. And then we unboxed this thing, took a brief look at it. I showed you the 3 different types of reticles and talked a little bit about some of the features. I did leave out the solar panel. I can't believe I left that out, but I did, so I'm mentioning it now. solar panel that actually helps extend that battery life, which is an awesome feature. And now we are at final thoughts. So let's go down through our functional requirements and see how this really stacked up. Under $500, check. This was $310. And folks, remember, I purchase everything you see in my videos. Nothing's given to me or sent to me, so I purchased this for my PCC build. Open reflex and not a tube. Red dot, yep, check, it's open reflex, not a tube. Ease of use, I don't think you can get any more easier to use than press a button to turn it on, press another button to change the reticles, and the same other button to adjust the brightness. It does have some automatic features that you can look up, and we talked about in the when we did the comparison matrix, such as auto brightness and things like that. But from a feature set, this thing really does fit the bill. Long battery life. Hey, if this thing does last 50,000 hours with one battery, you just can't go wrong with that, and I hope it does. Multiple reticles, I just talked about that. Yep, it's got them. That was a big selling feature for me because I just didn't want just a red dot. Good brightness, as I told you earlier in the unboxing, I have taken this outside. The reticle does hold up in direct sunlight, so I'm very happy with that. Sturdy construction, it's aluminum housing with a titanium shield over the glass, so I'm very happy with that. The auto on-off feature, remember that feature, because that's a big one for me. I don't want to have to get home from a match, put up the rifle, and all of a sudden, you know, you're laying in bed and you go, did I turn that optic off? I don't want to deal with that. So this has really good on-off functionality, and it's got a good warranty. I won't say it's up there with Vortex or Leupold or any of those lifetime warranties, but I think it's got a pretty good warranty for what I paid for it. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've got a few more coming up. For sure, I've got 5 coming up. I've got a barrel cooler video that I'm gonna review, a barrel cooler for my PRS rifle. I've got the PCC build that this is gonna go on. I'm gonna mount a new barrel in my PRS rifle, so that'll be a great video to see. I'm going to look at the load workup for that new barrel, so we'll review some of that. What do I have to do to my current cartridge loads to adapt to that new barrel? And then we're going to have a discussion on lands. So if you don't know what lands are, go out there and Google it and get ready for my video, because the cool thing about this video on lands is going to be, I'm going to have a new barrel, I'm going to have my old barrel, and we're going to scope those things. We're going to put a scope in the barrels, and we're going to see exactly what a new barrel looks like and what an older barrel looks like after, say, 3,000 rounds through it. Then we'll have a discussion on how those lands eroded and how we want to adjust, maybe, our cartridge loads as those lands do erode. So we'll have some good discussion on that. I hope you stay tuned. And I've got about 3 or 4 other things rolling through my mind that I haven't solidified yet, but they'll probably come out. So hey, I really appreciate all the likes, the great comments, and especially those subscriptions. So if you find all this useful, please do subscribe. And until next time, shoot straight.